right, it's my honor to welcome my next guest today. His name is Uttam Dwivedi. He's the CEO and founder of Avete, a company that is specializing in helping companies in the construction space. Really excited to dive into these topics today. Uttam, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. It's an honor to be here.
Nice, man. Yeah, so we have something in common. We were both part of the Antler Accelerator program in Japan, but you actually got funded. Is that correct? Can you tell us a little bit about your Antler journey?
Yes, we were in the last batch, JPN4. It was a great experience basically for me. Antler is like, to me, they have this mentorship thingy on like how to prepare your documents and your pitch that is really linked to the investor community, right? So they are really good in that. They can
Mm,
basically find every details about your presentation that is missing, like for example, your business plan or like something. And that's where like Antler basically really helped us a lot.
yeah.
We were lucky to be one of the six companies that got funded last time.
Mhm.
Yes. So like for me, it was a really great experience basically.
Was it your first time in an accelerator program or no?
Yes, it was. So for me, basically, I thought of this business like a long time ago, right?
Mhm.
Because I am from the civil engineering sort of background, but I didn't know how to kind of like prepare my pitches to the investors or like have like how to basically talk to them. That was
Mhm.
one key ingredient that was missing for me. So I got some LinkedIn ad about Antler. So I reached out to them. They were kind enough to tell us the details. And like within like 15 days, we basically had this new program, the JPN4 batch, and we were lucky to join that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I remember, when I first heard about Antler, I was like, this is like YC kind of almost,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right?
Like a baby YC or something like
Yes,
that. That's
yes.
why I was super excited to join when I first joined in Vietnam. I was like, wait, I get to learn about how to build my own startup and potentially get funded after?
Mhm.
Amazing. Happy days.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And another like great thing was that it's in English, right?
Hmm.
Which you don't generally see a lot in Japan, right? First of all, the startup culture is still developing in Japan, right?
Hmm.
And then on top of that, someone to help you in all the details in English
Hmm.
is a lot easier because my Japanese is still like not to the level that I should be proud of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's still work in progress.
Well, what's funny is actually the first two cohorts were all in Japanese. And then the
Yes.
cohort that I was in was the first time they did it in English. So
Mhm.
now I think they're just sticking to English, which is good because, Antler wants founders who are globally minded, who can expand abroad and have that mindset. So yeah, what was, I guess, outside of the, preparing your pitch deck, for investors and learning how to talk to them, like what was some of the biggest benefits for you as well?
So other than that, basically understanding the market part, like how to price our system, right? So that was another like how to have the pricing standards set in our platform.
Hmm.
That was another like key important detail that they mentioned basically, right? And how to have your revenue stream, what sort of like this North Star metric
Yeah.
you need to build into your system, like into your this like startup core system, right?
Yeah.
Those things, yeah, I didn't know that before joining.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I used to hate the market size calculation. That was
Yeah,
the worst for
that
me.
was very tricky
It's
thing to
so
do. Yes.
so tell us a little bit about you. Like what brought you to Japan and tell us a little bit about, Avete and what problem you guys are solving as well.
About me, I'm originally from India. I did my bachelor's from one of the IIT in India, and we have this like long summer break, like 3 months around. So during my third year of my college, I wanted to find some sort of an internship program that I can do. So I reached out to this professor Shibasaki in University of Tokyo. He is like one of the best in like remote sensing in the world, basically. So I really wanted to like learn from him, work with him. So I reached out to him, and he was kind enough to respond with a positive mindset. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, cool. Come to University of Tokyo for this internship program." So I came here for 3 months. Before that, I literally had like very little idea about Japan, right? I am not a huge anime fan. Yeah, so Yeah, like my understanding of Japan was very limited.
Right.
When I came here and I was very shocked with the people, with the cleanliness, like the
Hmm.
behavior in general. It was really nice. Like actually, on the very first day, I got my home was very close to the Shinjuku station, and you know the Shinjuku station, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
I got lost there, and then just I didn't have internet. This was almost like 10 years ago, right?
Hmm.
I didn't have internet, so I just asked a random Japanese person, like, "Yeah, this is my address. Can you tell me?" And
Hmm.
that was like 10 minutes from the station. So he was like he just took my bag, my trolley bag, and he was like, "Yeah, just walk with me."
Oh
Coming
wow.
from India, that was a huge shock. Then the lab was really great. I mean, University of Tokyo, the campus life itself is like really nice, and the research is also like civil engineering in Japan is like literally the best in the world,
Mm.
right? So it was a great learning experience for me. Then I decided to come here for masters. After
Mm.
so I went back. I finished 1 year of like remaining college, and then I came here for masters.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I was very like most of the people from my batch, they were very keen to go to US. Like
Mm.
I still have, I think like 30% of my batchmates from my college, they are in US right now.
I see.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was also like applying for like I was thinking of like NYU. They had this like I talked to a professor there and he was very positive. I talked to a professor in Germany as well. But then like after coming here for internship, I decided no, this is the place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You fell in love
And
with Japan, right?
yeah, it's basically it's the lab, the people that's really amazing, right? And then after my master's, I joined this company called Hazama Ando, which is a construction general contractor basically. So there I get to visit a lot of construction sites. I get to visit and live the problem basically that people were living on a daily basis. Like so then we built some small prototypes and some small like uh, focused solution for Hazamando, but I saw a huge potential in it. So I decided that once my time in Hazama Ando going to end, I will start my own company.
What was the problem that you encountered?
Construction sites, like it's very shocking that a country that is like so like detail oriented, right? They still have deaths and accidents in construction site. It's like super shocking thing to hear.
Mm.
Like I am from India. Indian construction site is not that organized. So
Mm.
having an accident there, kind of okay, yes. So people were not wearing the proper gears, or the safety patrolling was not done. So you can see that some things get missed. But to have that same problem in Japan was a bit shocking.
Mm.
But yeah, so that's what kind of like led me to make this system that we are currently building. So Avete, it means welcome, because we believe to welcome the construction industry of Japan to this new era,
Mm.
right? So
Okay.
that's the idea behind the name.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have been building this platform that makes construction sites safer, faster, and cheaper.
Okay.
Right? Because for us, safety is not just a like a single point problem. It's not just you just do this and it gets fixed. It's basically very similar to how you do like a car and like so when you discuss about accidents in a car, you don't just talk about the car should have the safety features, right?
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, you have to have roads, right, that are properly maintained, right?
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, you have to have drivers who are properly trained.
Mm-hmm.
Then having cars with all these AI features, they help, right?
Yep.
So for us, that's how we treated this problem in the construction site. So our platform basically helps the construction workers train better. They can learn about their work a lot easier way,
Mm.
especially the younger and the foreign engineers and construction workers. And their numbers are increasing day by day in Japan as well, right? And then, yeah, so that's basically one major key aspect. Another is the safety component itself. So having the mobile applications or body cameras or CCTV cameras. So far, what like I saw in construction sites, like what was happening was people used to just like they have this CCTV camera that records the footage like 24/7, but you are not really checking them. You are checking them only after something happens,
Uh,
and then you are like, okay, I want to see what happened. But that's not the way of like improving the safety, right? So for us, it's like, yeah, you already have this hardware set up. Let us use our technology within this existing hardware so that we can basically give you more real-time understanding, more daily routine understanding, more detail about the near misses. Because
cool.
every single accident that happens, you generally have a lot of near misses before that. So, for example, one construction site we were analyzing, they had this fire accident. It was a big construction site, and almost like 80% of the construction work was finished, and then
Mhm.
they had this fire accident, so they had to do from the zero.
Oh my God.
Once we dug deeper into it, we found out that actually there were like almost 8 9 near misses before that. There were a lot of like small incidents of the welding firework, basically like fire related accidents before that. But since they were not super major, people sort of like ignored, right? Because
Mhm.
like when I say ignored, it doesn't mean because people want to. You have to understand that construction site work is very hectic.
Yeah.
People basically work like Monday to Saturday, right? And sometimes in like there are double shifts like daytime and nighttime, right? So it's very difficult and it's very like intensive sort of work. So it's very natural for them to like ignore something that they don't consider like super important. So with our system, we can basically allow them to basically ignore these things so that we catch it, and we basically make them understand this part a lot easier and better way.
You're literally saving lives, man, and like millions of dollars for these, construction
Yes.
sites. You know what I mean?
Saving lives is the bigger target. Of course, you get to in a corporate world, like saving money and making money is very important, and we are doing that too because it's a huge market. So Japanese construction industry, like if you talk about the safety training, like
Hmm.
because they spend a lot of money on training as well, right? So safety training and accident compensation is like $34 billion market
Wow,
just in Japan, right? So
that's
it's a
insane.
huge market. So of course the money is already there, but on top of that, like the more satisfying part is actually like helping workers and like saving their lives.
Do you have any data on like how many people actually lose their lives in construction sites in Japan?
Yes, on an average, around 300 construction workers die every year.
Oh my
In
gosh.
yeah,
Oh, one is too much, but 300? Come on, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly right. More than like 15,000 get like seriously injured every year.
Yeah, the injuries must be even more, right? I can imagine in the US as well, we probably have similar numbers. So I can see where you're going with this, right? Where Antler is
Exactly.
excited, right? Because, there's so many different construction sites, a place like India where you have connections, right? Where that are not safe. I remember in Vietnam, they would go and like they wouldn't even wear hard hats sometimes in these areas. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then no like safety like gear
Mhm.
to go up top
Yeah.
buildings and stuff
But
some.
actually, like if you think about it, like in Japan, you do all that. In Japan, I have never went to a construction site where I've seen someone not wearing hard hat or not wearing
Right.
safety jackets, but still you have this number, which is
Yeah.
shocking. Which means like you are missing. Safety is not just about this. You have to have a lot more deeper understanding. Like for example, if you are working on crane, there are like varieties of crane, but then like a general example will be like how the outrigger or like the hand of the crane
Yeah.
is supported on the ground, and then
Mm,
if the ground is, let's say, not as rigid, uh,
mm,
like it's on the soil or something, then you have to have like steel plate underneath it. Because if you don't have that and there's a good amount of load on the crane, it can topple.
right.
Right? So these are very small misses, basically. So and they cause a lot bigger hazards.
Well, it's actually another thing. You brought up something about training, and now I'm just thinking about it. A lot of times, people who work in construction sites are
Mm.
usually people who come from lower income places, right? Like people who might be good with their hands, but not necessarily good with, their minds or something. And that might be one of the things that's relating to this, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. So when you talk about training, in actually in Japan, like everything is really organized.
Mhm.
I want to basically take the same concept in other countries as well
Yeah.
through our system. But the idea is like in Japan, there is this concept of kikenyuchi, which means basically just hazard prediction. So
Mhm.
every day at the start of the day, they basically discuss about the work that they are doing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you are going to work on crane, right? So, you basically like you have multiple teams, and let's say like this one team is working on the crane, loading, unloading some items. So, they can basically talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
and then through our system, we list out all the possible hazards that they can face that day.
Mm.
And so they basically have this clear-cut understanding of the risks. They're not missing out on anything, right? If you don't do it through this kind of system, then either you have to write it on paper, and which is normally the case, but then you miss out some smaller things.
Mm-hmm.
So we like through our platform, we make sure that you're not missing out those things. And you talk about the construction workers like coming from a bit of a different background. Uh, that's why you have the main contractors' own employees on the construction sites.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I'm not sure if you know about the construction site setup. In one construction site, you normally have like five, six, or sometimes more than like 10, 20 companies working together. So all these companies, they have very different sort of backgrounds. Their workers, like for example, there's a main contractor who have like more qualified engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have foremans and their own like Sagyuan, like construction workers
Mm-hmm.
might not have a bit more of the technical background. But through this system, basically what we are doing is we have this verification system that the people who know about civil engineering, who know about the more details of those work, they can also verify all these things very easily. It's just like a simple mobile application, just like click on few things and just you can just be sure that okay, this is what has been happening. And if anything goes missing, you can immediately like you have meetings, right? You have like a in a day also sometimes you have like once or twice or three times meetings. You can basically clarify those things very easily.
I'm trying to picture myself in that type of situation, right? Where I'm the foreman and I have a lot going on. I'm working with maybe several other contractors.
Mm.
Am I using just my phone or is there like a tablet as well? If there's like radio communication, like how does that kind of like
Okay.
workflow?
So now actually Japanese government pushed a lot for this digitalization part in construction industry. So now most of the construction sites, if they have some one of the bigger main contractors, like for example Kazima or Hasamando or Obayashi, they have given like iPads or mobile phones to every foreman and like every employees basically. Right.
Mm.
So they have access to an iPad or a mobile phone or some sort of like tablet that they
Mm.
can. So it's not like they don't have access to this device, right?
Feel like
It,
it's such a manual like type of job, but then there's
yes,
so much tech that's actually on the back end.
exactly. Yes, yes. Yeah, actually, we recently visited a construction site like the changes that are happening in the Shibuya station.
Hmm.
It's a 20-year project to modify the Shibuya station, and they are using a lot of tech, right, to do that. They they pushed this video in public where they basically replaced a bridge in 50 hours.
That's insane.
So like yeah, it's crazy, right? So they are using a lot of tech already.
Mhm.
So our system is just like it just blends in the background. It's never going to be like ah you have to learn this new thing or you have to do this understand this like new platform. It just blends in the background basically.
That's good, man. Yeah, because they need it. In order to stay organized, you need it. I have a question for you with regards to the many different types of companies working together. Is there ever a situation where like two competitors are working in the same site,
Yes,
or
yes, it is. So
how does that work?
actually, it's really funny. So, like for example, I talked to this one big construction company, and their like Sacho was like, like we want to make sure that our know-how and our important data don't get really shared with the competitors. That's why we are a bit scared of using AI.
Hmm.
But our platform basically supports like local support, like local AI deployment as well. And then we take the data privacy very seriously. So we
Hmm.
divide every single data into different structure. Like one company data never gets shared with another company.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, that was their concern. But then when I visited the construction site, it's like two biggest Japanese construction companies are working on the same project.
Interesting.
They literally have one office. In the same office, two biggest competitors, engineers are basically working together.
How does that? I think it's like the only like type of industry where this could actually work. because you have a client, and then the client is hiring many different subcontractors.
Yeah. So actually, one example is like Shibuya station itself. So Shibuya's renovation project, which is like 20-year long project, they have Kajima and Shimizu working together there,
Mm,
which are like two biggest. It's basically like you have in tech world, you have basically Google and Apple making the same phone together,
interesting.
right? So
Yeah.
they are doing that because actually in Japan and it's going on very smoothly. They don't really have a problem of data sharing and all those things because those site part remains in the construction site. Like the site information gets sorted in the construction site, and they both kind of there's no like blame game here in Japan that you didn't do this part, that's why we had this problem. They never do something like that, which is very normal in construction sites abroad,
Yes.
right? You
I imagine
generally have
the
like
US
one,
better.
not just US, like in India also we have the very similar situation, right? You have like one construction site. If something goes wrong, they're like, yeah, the subcontractor did it, or maybe like another construction company who was working together on it, they did it. But that's not the case here.
I could see that this would cause a lot of miscommunications between, like, not
Yes.
just, the client and all the contractors, but contractor to contractor. How do you, does your system help with that at all, or how does that, get
Yes.
mixed?
So for us, basically, like in one site, you can invite all these different shareholders into a single platform. So all the data basically is available for all the shareholders. Of
Mm,
course, it's we have different type of user requirements. So for example, if you are a construction foreman, you might not be able to see what other teams Kikenyuchi activities are, what other teams are doing. Of
mhm.
course, we have those kind of security measures. But if let's say like two companies are working together on the same thing and both have the same level of admin privileges, then they both can see the same information.
Mm.
So there is no miscommunication because you both are saying the same thing.
Well, that's good. I'm more so talking also about, like, just people to people speaking. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you have people from different countries and backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
And, like, how do they communicate? But then also, yeah, just requirements. People interpret things differently. So
Yes.
if your system helps with that, that's huge.
So actually, like one of the another like really important factor that led us to create this was when I was visiting construction sites. As I mentioned, my Japanese is not to the level I should be proud of.
Yeah.
So I face this problem of like I can understand English pretty well, but the Japanese like construction wordings of like Japanese like items that I couldn't get it.
Hmm.
So that's why like in our platform you can have this like chat GPT of construction built in, right? So anytime there is any answer or any detail that you want to know, you can just ask it in a different level, like ask it to provide it in English or Japanese. And then our future path is that we will basically extend it to Vietnamese and Nepalese and like other local languages as well.
Nice. Yeah. So it really reduces the level of
Yes,
misunderstandings.
yes.
Good.
It's like yeah, one construction site actually they told us very recently that there was this foreign construction worker. He didn't do anything wrong. He basically saw some information in Japanese. He used Google Translator to translate it and just followed the exact instruction as it was said in the Google Translate. But of course, like it got lost in the translation, and because of that, a small incident occurred in the construction site.
No.
So we can definitely like reduce those things.
It's crazy, right? Because you figure that such an international type of work environment would have English as the lingua franca or something.
No, it's not. It's basically Japanese is the first language because your civil engineers and the project managers, they are mostly Japanese. Yeah, in Japan, when they have projects abroad, sometimes the story could be a bit different because all these big construction companies in Japan, they also have projects in like other countries like US,
Yeah.
like Vietnam, like India. They already have projects there, right? But on top of that, basically, when in Japan, most of the like commanding positions are from Japanese side.
Hmm.
So they speak Japanese. They're all the documentation, all the information, everything is in Japanese. So imagine like a construction worker from Nepal or Vietnam just land into that construction site. They the only thing they're basically learning is like if they have a superior who is telling them, okay, you are supposed to do it like this. So they just learn that and they cannot really learn a bit deeper, like they cannot develop any deeper understanding of those things,
Right.
right? So
Exactly.
that's like I also felt that actually, like even though I can use all this tech and I can use Google Translate, I can use all these things, but still I felt that same problem. Like imagine a construction worker coming from Nepal or Vietnam or India to this construction site.
Yeah.
They will just face the same problem again. So yeah, that's like one of the another like super important thing that we have to have that in the construction site.
It seems like, there's tools out there that already exist that,
Mm.
why aren't these companies like investing in these type tools to help with this already? You know what I mean? Like, for example, the real-time translation tools. If something
Yes.
mission critical, like building a building, and the safety of that, like you'd figure it'd be already implemented, but it's not. I wonder
Uh,
why.
so there are like two reasons. One is the security. So these construction companies they take like security as very serious. Right?
Hmm.
So let's say if you're using Google Translator or ChatGPT or those kind of tools, the problem is your data. They don't want the site picture to be sent anywhere. That's like one big problem. Another is most of the if you look at the number of Japanese construction companies, like can you guess like the construction number of construction companies, like including the homemakers, how many of them will be in Japan?
It's probably a couple of thousand, right?
No, it's 400,000.
400,000. Oh, wow. That's quite.
Right. So you have 400,000 construction companies. 90 to 95% of them are small to medium size. Right. And even though you have these AI solutions, most of them are basically very expensive for them to adopt. Right.
Mm,
Imagine a construction company with like three, four, five construction sites with like 30, 40 workers. They cannot afford like paying 500,000 yen or
mm,
1 million yen per month on a system, right? So that's like another big reason why they are not. At the same time, they have to worry about the data privacy and all those things, other things, right? So that's why they cannot really have a solution that works.
I actually want to switch gears and talk to you a little bit more about, your future here, right?
Mm.
Like, what are your goals for Avete? Like, what do you think, I guess, is the next 5, 10 years look like for you?
Okay. So, yeah, so our basically like if you talk in Antler's terminology, our like serviceable market, right, that we want to obtain in the next 5 years is basically somewhere around like $700 million from Japan.
Okay.
But at the same time, we want to grow to these other countries. Like we are really keeping an eye on Middle East
Mm,
and Malaysia and India, like this South Asia zone. And after that, we want to move to other like US based construction sites as well. So that's basically our goal. Because if you talk about like I'm sure like you must have heard this part like so many times, like, oh, Japanese construction is so awesome, why cannot we make this somewhere
mm,
else, right? You have so many earthquakes, like so many problems happening here, why cannot you do the same thing here? If you think about it logically, you have the machineries, right, that you can rent in other countries as well, right?
mm,
But the know-how part is something that gets missing, right? We want to promote those things. Like it's the same thing that when the Japanese construction companies goes abroad, they generally have very expensive pricing compared to the competition from China or from Germany. Like, that's why they most of the time it's very difficult for them to win as well.
mm.
So from our platform, basically, we want to reduce that cost so that they can be as competitive as other countries as well. So
Right.
basically, we want to grow from Japan to the rest of the world in the coming year.
Awesome, man. And what's your current situation now with the company? Are you guys like obviously you got funded at Antler, but what stage is the company at the moment? And
Yeah.
do you have any initial traction and those type things?
Yes, yes, yes. So actually, yeah, it's really great. We got funded from Antler in July. We already have matched almost same amount of money that we got from Antler through
Great.
our POC projects,
Nice.
right? So we have a really good future ahead of us. We are doing okay.
Mm,
And recently, like we participated in Kajima Innovation Program. There is a Built World conference, which is like the biggest construction event in the world. It's based on US, but they have one in Tokyo.
mm,
We are presenting there as well. We are talking to a lot of construction companies. In last 3 months, actually, we have reached out to more than 200 plus construction companies in Japan.
Mm.
And the way we are doing is slightly different. I told you about the number of construction companies in Japan, right? So if you reach out to each and every one of them like individually, it's very time consuming part. So the
Mhm.
way we are doing is we are trying to collaborate with construction associations
Oh,
who
smart.
have like 5,000, 10,000 construction companies under their belt.
Smart.
And we are like, yeah, use our product, see how you feel like. And then can you give us a platform where we can talk about the product? So that's how we are able to get like really quick feedback.
Hmm.
Uh yeah, so that's why like our traction is like it's really good so far.
Yeah, and as a CEO, you have to kind of make those decisions, right? It's like this strategy, one by one, isn't working. Let's go to these associations where they have more of an influence. And, if they really like our product, they'll tell everyone in their association to,
Mhm.
to use it.
It's also not just about as a CEO, it's also about your team.
Uh,
Uh, because you have to know all these details, right?
mhm.
So in our case, like our core team, basically, me, Rahul, and Koike-san, we are all coming from civil engineering background.
Mm.
Uh, Rahul, I work at Hazamando. Rahul work at Sumitomo Mitsui, and Koike-san worked for Hazamando for like almost 30 years. So he understands this entire structure really well.
Mm.
So with his help, we are able to basically get into the contacts of these different organizations, these different associations, and we can basically think that this is also a direction that we can take.
It's amazing, man.
Right. So it's the team basically that has to be really good.
You guys are a team of three then, right?
So we have the core members of three. We have like yeah 7 members as the
Okay.
software side as well. Yeah, three basically just started this month because we
Oh,
got
wow.
the POCs and projects, so we have to develop those quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so three started this month. Actually, yeah, the funny story, one of them actually was a part of Antler program,
Okay.
right? So yeah, Antler is not just about your funding and your startup. You also get to have a lot of connections,
Yep. The network.
and
Yeah.
right, so and those connections basically help.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because you're working in the office with them that whole time, you understand how they work, and it's a lot easier of an introduction, to
Yes.
your work and everything. So it's incredible, man. Yeah. So you guys are growing the team, right? Things are looking good. Any specific challenges that you're working through at the moment?
There are, of course. So one big challenge is I mentioned about SMEs, right? So we had to have the pricing in a certain way that is lucrative enough for these small construction companies as well. But at the same time, these construction companies, they might not have understanding of like how the AI is working or how it's actually can be useful, right? So most of the time, sometimes the feedback is like, yeah, AI is not accurate or like it's not good enough for us or something like that. So that's one challenge we face on a daily basis.
Educating the customer, is that it?
Yes, educating the customers. That's the right word for it. Yes. Another big challenge is startup in Japan is not really, especially in the construction industry, it's not a big thing, right? So having some sort of like like some main players, like key
Mm.
players basically with you, that helps a lot. That like these big companies are trusting their product, so we should too, right?
That's social proof, man.
That's the social proof part. Yes. So we basically applied for this. I'm not sure if you know, like there's this keyword called netis.
No.
Netis is basically it's basically the gold standard for the public works, right?
Mm.
It's basically like the full form goes something like New Technology Information System by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
That's how the acronym NETIS comes in.
Okay.
So basically, it's kind of like patent, but it's more industry construction focused in Japan. So we applied for that. We got accepted for that as well yesterday.
Awesome.
And yeah, so the application has moved to the next stage yesterday.
Exciting.
and hopefully like soon we will be getting the final confirmation from them as well. So that's a huge win because that kind of proves that this product is something that the government and the entities can basically trust.
It's
Yeah,
really good to hear. Yeah, everything here is about like social proof and like making
exactly.
sure that you're certified, you have the
Yes.
certificate, whatever, right? So anything
It's
helps.
actually like so in US or in India, normally for a startup, it's like, ah, you have a good product. Is it cheap enough to use?
Exactly.
We are in. In Japan, these things don't really matter.
Mhm.
In Japan, what really matters is, of course, the quality of the product is very important, but at the same time, where that product is coming from, who is selling that product, right?
Yes.
What is the background of the people who are selling those products? Those things are as important as the product itself.
You also have somebody on your team who has, over 30 years of
Yes,
connections and network and things that really helps a lot.
yes, 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 yes. So that's like, yeah, we are basically like, we are very lucky to have this team where all the details get covered within the core team. And then there's this like really awesome tech team who understands all these details and they can develop a lot quicker and faster.
How did you guys meet the co-founders, the co-founding team? How did you guys meet?
So me and Koike-san, we work together in Hazamando.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually, yeah. So in Hazamando, Koike-san was in charge of this another project, and they were getting stuck because they had this collaboration with this university, and this project was about belt conveyors. So
Mm.
like if you have tunnels, how the like construction materials get out of those tunnels, they
Uh,
use belt conveyor belts, like really huge as conveyor belts basically, right?
oh,
So they had this project, and this was done by some university, but their accuracy was not really good. So Koike-san was really worried, and he heard in the company that there's this new guy who knows about AI really well. Because
mm,
I was hired for Asamando as a person who will bring all these things to Asamando.
mm,
Right. So he was like, "Can you help us in this thing?" And we figured out a schedule. We worked through it. So that's how we basically got to know each other. And then he was like, yeah, actually this problem is not just here, it's a big problem, right? So why not, let's work on this. Then so we and me and Koike-san, we were basically working together on it. And then Rahul is my junior from University of Tokyo.
okay. So you guys met
Yeah.
at university.
So I knew him from that channel.
Nice.
So yeah, we basically kind of like know each other.
Well, that's the thing, right? So when people want to start a business, they need to find a co-founder usually. If they want to
Yes,
build a tech business, it's always good to have a co-founder with it. And some people don't know where to look. They join places like Antler potentially, they go to networking events, but they don't realize that maybe your co-founder is your colleague, your current colleague, who
exactly.
also wants to start a business, or your best friend or a classmate, like in your
Yeah,
situation. The co-founders are potentially everywhere. They could be part of your family or whatever, right? So your story clearly shows that people have a potential co-founder just sitting in their network waiting for that conversation, I think. Right.
definitely. Actually, for co-founder, like what I believe is like one person like is not perfect, right?
Mm.
There are definitely a lot of flaws, right?
Hmm.
The idea should be that your core team needs to be this one entity who doesn't have any flaw,
Yeah.
right? So you have to have this like co-founder and this team that kind of whatever your flaw is, that should be strength of another person. Whatever their flaws is, that is strength of yours. So
Yep.
combining that, like that is the very important aspect of like finding the co-founder.
Yep.
Right. So
Right.
that's very important. That's what I look
Well,
for.
it's all about complementary skills. What I'm weak
Exactly.
at, I need my co-founder to be strong in, and vice versa. I mean,
Yes.
there are very few exceptions in this world of solo founders that are super successful. I think maybe Jeff Bezos is one of them, but did he have a co-founder? I don't think he did. Did he?
I think he had a
Did he?
co-founder.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know if he did or
I'm not
not.
sure.
But like even Elon Musk had co-founders and throughout
Yes.
his journey, right?
Yes, yes,
So
definitely.
it's very, very rare for somebody to be super successful by themselves.
Yeah,
It's
also actually Antler doesn't really fund you if you don't have co-founder.
exactly, yes. Exactly. So you definitely need some. Cool, man. So we talk a lot about obviously the problem that you're solving, how you're solving it, the construction industry in general, some of the safety concerns there about co-founders. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you think we should have spoken about?
Yes, setting up a business in Japan,
Oh, please, yes. This is
right?
important.
So, setting up a business in Japan is it's a lot easier now, right? You basically have like fixed offices that you can basically set up all those things in a single day now. It used to be a lot more difficult, right? Yeah. So in my case, like I basically just went to the office, and with my limited Japanese, I was like, yeah, I need to set up my company. And they asked me what should be the name of your company, and I was like, it should be like Avete Kabushiki Gaisha. And then they were like, okay, why not Kabushiki Gaisha Avete? And then I was like, oh yeah, they are different, right? That's the thing, right? So in the Western world, you basically have like company name followed by corporation or
Yeah.
incorporator something something, right? In Japan, there's this two concept of like either it's like Kabushiki Gaisha and then company name, or company name and Kabushiki Gaisha. So they just asked me that, and I just went back to my home, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, like, what's the difference in it? So I went back to my home, I researched about what's the difference. Apparently, it turned out there is basically no difference.
Okay.
So it's basically it's more like traditional and old companies, they all have Kabushiki Gaisa followed by company name.
Uh-huh.
And then all this like new and up and coming startups, they basically have name of the company followed by Kabushiki Gaisa. So these kind of like simple things, if you are applying. But applying is very easy now, right? So you just go there, just submit like few documents, few forms. Especially if you have permanent residence
Question
or
for
you
you
have like.
though. Before we get into that, where did you go to set up the company?
I set up the company when I was living in Kitaku of Tokyo.
Okay.
So now I'm living in a different, like I'm living in a Kotoku. So my company is registered in there, but I registered my company first in Kitaku.
Yeah, so did you go to City Hall or where did you go?
There's this office so each ku have offices basically to set up the company.
Okay,
So I basically went, it's not City Hall, it's a different office.
I see.
But if you go to City Hall, you just tell them, which I did, then they just point you, like
No
they're
point.
very nice people, right? They just point you to the right place. That's it.
Okay, not here, there. Okay, good.
Exactly. Just go there and that's it.
Okay.
So
I did actually have a really important question for you about visa. So, you
mm,
know, recently in Japan, they raised the requirements from 5
yes,
million to 30 million, right?
yes,
For you, you have permanent residency, is that correct?
yes.
Okay, so you this doesn't apply to you, but for a lot of people who want to start a business here in Japan, it does apply to them. So they'll start off in the startup visa, and then they need to go to a business manager visa. But how can they, at the startup stage, afford a 30 million yen capital investment,
Yeah, it's very difficult now, right?
right?
I think like most of the early stage investors as well, they don't really invest like 30 million. They invest less,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's like what, $200,000 or something like that.
Exactly, right.
So, I mean, it's a significant amount of money.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Antler invest less basically than
right.
that. So then, yeah, they have to have their own capital, which, but I think like that's happening around the world right now.
Yeah.
So you have in US with the new H-1B visa problem,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So the same thing in Japan. They're making it a bit difficult, which I believe will limit more number of people who can create something amazing, right? It has to be a lot more open,
It definitely
definitely.
seems like a policy that's going counterintuitive to what Japan's goals are
Uh,
for startups in the next 5 or whatever years.
uh, yes and no. Other way of looking at it could be, so startups don't really get a lot of support right now. If you have higher fee or higher entry points, then maybe the supports will start becoming a lot more bigger as well. So now you will have more initial investors who invest more money, because you basically have almost same investors who invest a lot more money in other country than in Japan.
Mm,
Right? So I think with this we can basically solve that as well. So
I
it
see.
should not be a huge problem. Also, applying for PR is a lot easier now as well, right? It's very simple point system. You simply like calculate your point, you go to them. It takes time, definitely now. Uh, when I applied, it took around 4 months.
Okay.
Now it takes around 1.5 years.
I think though that your situation is a little different because you did go to school here, right?
Yes,
Masters and then started getting a
yes, yes,
job and
yes.
stuff. So
Yeah.
if somebody wanted to just come to Japan, I think it'd be a little bit more difficult for them. They'd have to wait a long time and have a job potentially.
Yes, yes, yes. If you are coming to Japan as a newcomer and then you try to apply for PR, that's not really
Not gonna
possible.
happen. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
that
definitely not gonna happen right away. Yeah, you
for
need.
that you have to have a good capital.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, you have to.
I think like five, like 30 is a bit. Maybe like they could have increased it to 15 or something.
Yeah,
That
something more reasonable. Come on,
like
you know.
30 is, yeah, it's a bit
Like a
too.
seed, like a pre-seed investment amount.
Exactly,
You
right?
know,
Like,
something reasonable,
yeah,
right? That's it's crazy, but hopefully, it won't deter people from coming here because Japan really needs international founders to help them build
yes,
unicorns and stuff like that. Clearly, in your case, right, you're an international founder living here in Japan and building something that is going to help save lives, save people
yeah.
money, and hopefully, make an impact, which is great. Uttam, it's been a really great conversation today. We do have a closing tradition where the last person lets a question for you, and you'll leave a question for the next guest. Are you ready for your question?
Sure, sure.
Okay. So, did you turn your passion into your job? Yes or no? And if so, how do you feel about that statement?
Did I turn my passion into my job?
Yeah. Would you say your construction job, what you're working on now, is your passion?
Kind of, not really a strong yes, basically.
Not a strong yes.
Not a strong yes. So, in my college, basically, I spent most of my years building drones.
Drones. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I took one component of that, and then that I applied in remote sensing, which I did in my master's.
Mhm.
And then from there, this new entire trajectory of using machine learning and like learning about the new technologies that kind of came into the picture, and
Mhm.
that kind of became the thing that I started doing more. Yeah, and then kind of the passion ignites later on when I was working with these construction sites.
Mhm.
Because that's the thing about passion, right? That changes over time.
Yep, you're
Yeah.
right.
So it ignited a bit later. It wasn't something that I dreamt of as an undergrad, that this is what I'll do.
Okay. So when you hear yourself saying like, "Oh, kind of," like how do you feel about that statement overall?
It's good, right? Like
Yeah.
the important thing is like having the skills
Mm.
to do whatever is necessary, or like having the desire or the fire to basically learn those skills.
Mhm.
That's very important,
Yep.
because passion, as I said, it basically like it comes and goes, right?
That's right. It's fluid, man. That's for sure. That is for sure. My passions are definitely different now than they were when I was a kid.
Exactly.
For sure. So, uh,
But yeah, whatever passion you had as a kid, whatever learning you learned from that, right? That definitely you are utilizing in your current skills.
mhm.
Yeah.
And it seems like, you're really knowledgeable about the construction industry and that you have this new passion to build this startup. And it's really validating to get an investment because it's like, yeah, man, I am actually working
Yeah,
on
yeah,
something that
exactly.
matters to people.
Exactly, right. Yes. It's
You
not just me who believe this idea is good. You have like this bunch of other people who believe that, yeah, this idea has a huge potential, right? That's
100%.
great.
Exactly, man. Keep at it. You're doing a great job, man. Really,
Thank you
really
very
good
much.
stuff. So now it's your turn to ask a question for the next guest.
Very simple question. How to have more traditional companies be more welcoming to startups in Japan?
That's going to be a difficult question. I mean, I
Because
think
the reason I'm asking this question is because you keep on hearing this thing that Japan needs more foreign workers, Japan needs more startups and all this like new culture. But at the same time, you have these traditional companies who basically do everything. I recently visited like Kajima. Kajima literally had a stereo speaker that they are trying to sell,
yes, I know what you're talking about. I
right?
know what you're
So
talking about.
they basically have everything. So for them, how to have this like culture of startup.
It's so funny that you say that actually, because I've noticed that as well. When you go into like some stores, there's just be like random things that are being sold there as well, and it's their product sometimes.
Exactly, right?
Well,
So that,
Mitsubishi,
yes, so Mitsubishi
Yamaha,
has their toes everywhere, right?
right?
So
What are they doing?
how to have a startup survive, like in Japan, because you have to have support of these big companies with.
Oh, actually, you bring up a great point because I remember talking to somebody from the Kanagawa office, and he was saying that a lot of the corporations are looking for startups to solve their own problems.
Yes, yes.
I think it's because they want to buy those startups so that they
So
become another product line in their conglomerate,
so yeah, exactly. Like the MA, not I'm not talking in terms of M&A part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that is one direction where the companies, that's why a lot of Japanese construction, not just construction, but like non-construction companies, they have started their own CVC funds as well.
Mhm.
Right. But I'm not talking in that sense. I'm talking like have the startup function as an independent entity as a startup
Mhm.
while being the part of this culture of Japanese, like Japanese conglomerates, basically.
It's very interesting, man. It's going to be hard, but I think that, that's one thing that startups and also Japan society as a whole needs to figure out if they want to create more
Exactly.
startups, right?
It's very important to figure this part out,
Yes.
because if you become part of this one company, then how are you going to solve the problem for millions of other people who don't
Yeah.
belong to that company?
Can't grow, man. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
If you're dependent on one company and you're a startup and you're dependent on that one company, when that company goes, what happens?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
done, right? So exactly, man. So yeah, Uttam, this was a really great conversation. I learned a lot about construction sites and some of the things that you're working on to help them become more safe, secure, and efficient. I wish you all the best of luck with building your startup and scaling and growing to the rest of the world. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, is LinkedIn the best way?
Yes, LinkedIn is the best,
Awesome.
basically.
I'll link all
I
that.
recently started using Facebook. I used to use Facebook when I was in high school,
Uh,
but recently a lot of Japanese investors, they were basically like, "Do you have Facebook?" And I was like, "Okay, let me delete my old social."
Exactly, exactly,
Right?
exactly. Yeah,
Uh,
Facebook is the networking tool here, other than
yes, yes,
not LinkedIn. So that's something that I'm actually trying to help people get
yes.
get onto a lot more. LinkedIn,
So,
LinkedIn.
yeah, LinkedIn is the easiest way to reach out to me.
Awesome, man. I'll link it all below. Thank you so much for your time today, Uttam.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you, Lee.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Product Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps this channel grow. And if you are a product manager or a startup founder who wants to share your story or some of the struggles that you've gone through in your career, then definitely reach out to us. We'd love to have you on. And until next time, happy building, everyone.